Hey guys, I'm Serge, and today we're going to be talking about the new 2015 MacBook Pro. This one has the new Haswell CPU and it's pretty freaking amazing. I noticed a huge performance increase when I went from the Air to the Pro line. Yeah, this one has tons of great new technologies. It's got the best keyboard available out of any of the MacBooks. The nice 13-inch Retina screen, which is awesome. So if you're coming from a MacBook Air like I was, then you'll be very surprised. New Iris 6100 graphics, which I'm really excited about because it actually runs every single game out there, except for a few, which I'll be talking about. And overall, it's just a pretty good value. Apple releases a lot of really overpriced products. It doesn't stop me from buying a lot of them, but I wanted to give you guys the insider scoop on this new 2015 MacBook Pro and whether it's worth it for you to buy. Let's take a look. So here it is, the new 2015 MacBook Pro. Let's take a quick look at it. So the first thing you're going to notice is that it is the most simplest design you have ever seen. Literally, there's as little edges and as little screws in design were used possible. There's not a whole lot going on with it. It's very metal, it's very plain looking. And actually, that is part of the beauty. Another thing that they included, which I absolutely love about this MacBook, is the ability to just open it up with one finger. And not a lot of people talk about this, but that is really, really nice. Oh man, this ridge right here is one of the best little ridges I've ever seen. So many laptops don't have this. This ridge makes it so much easier to open up the laptop. It just blows my mind how much time that I've saved because they actually took the time to make a nice little ridge here as the one-handed open up ability, which I think is great. You can't do that with a lot of other laptops. I mean, these are simple, small things that a lot of other companies could have done, but Apple did it like 6-7 years ago and people are just starting to notice these things. But they really do make a difference. This MacBook happens to be pretty good for all kinds of people. Business people, students, anybody who's doing engineering and needs anything to work in three-dimensional type of scenario. One of my favorite features about this MacBook is this awesome trackpad. And a lot of people don't talk about the trackpads, but the trackpad technology is actually really important now. And more people are beginning to care about their trackpads. This trackpad is good for two reasons. One is that it's really big, and two, it's got good hardware and software behind it. What that means is when you're actually moving the mouse around, or when you're actually moving the cursor around with the touchpad, it's really silky smooth. Since this has the TouchForce technology and a mechanical click, you can click anywhere at the top, at the bottom, anywhere you like. And the amazing thing about this keyboard is that you can actually customize it. Something that you can't do on any other laptop. It has this nice metal design, which a lot of manufacturers are only just starting to catch up to. You can talk to a lot of people about, what's a good laptop, HP, Dell, you just hear horror stories, non-stop horror stories about how people's battery connectors break or they get a virus and their computer is just dead. You really don't run into a lot of these issues with the MacBook. A snap feel to it when you type, which I really, really enjoy. This particular laptop also has a smaller footprint than the MacBook Air, which is funny considering the Air was supposed to be thin, light, and portable. As a matter of fact, the Air is actually the same thickness on these edges right over here, but it tapers off at the end. So the Air and the Pro are actually pretty portable, all things considered. The difference is that the Pro is a little bit heavier, and some people really, really care about that. If we turn around and we take a look here, we can see what makes this an Apple product. One of the first things that you'll notice is that it's got the Magsafe connector. This is the best charging connector I have ever seen. It's really easy to use, it plugs right in. Let me show you real quick here. A few reasons why this is the best charging port. This charging port has an all-metal construction design, and it uses magnets to connect, and it works really well. If you attach it, it just connects automatically. The magnets do the job for you. and when you need to just leave, and if you're walking and you trip over the cord, it just comes right off, really simple. So it's nice because it's sturdy enough to stay inside, but not sturdy enough to, if you trip over it, then it'll actually mess up. It also has an LED notification on both sides. I mean, who would have thought? Such a simple thing that somebody could add to a laptop, make it so much better. 2 Thunderbolt ports right over here. These are designed for transferring things, hard drives. It also does video. So Apple sells special monitors that were really good back in the day. They're a little bit expensive now, so I definitely wouldn't recommend them. They're about $1,000 a piece. You can find them used for about $600 to $800, but still not that worth it. Over here we have a USB connection. I'm sure you guys have all seen that. Headphone jack and 2 mics for a quality sound. I want to come off as forthright and honest as possible. I have all of the MacBooks. I've tested them, I've used all of them. I understand exactly how they work. Gaming, software, everything. If you have questions about the MacBooks, ask me in the comment section below. I'm gonna answer everybody's question. Again, I've used all of them, I know a lot about them, and I've even built computers in the past, so I can give you guys really good advice, and I really want to help you guys out. But I can't do that unless you guys subscribe and comment down below. So I'm looking forward to your questions, guys. On the other side here, we have a HDMI, very useful for plugging into a TV, and a USB port, and of course your media card reader for things like transferring pictures from your camera. And one of the signature things that I've always liked about Apple was the glowing Apple logo. So this particular logo, it's kind of old now and it's starting to feel a little bit dated, which is why the new 12-inch MacBook, on the iMacs and on the iPhones, it's a silver logo. But the MacBook Pro in the Air has still remained to keep this glowing logo. It's good because at nighttime when you're searching for something, you can find it because you have a glowing logo. You're not just blinded by the screen. So that's a really good addition. I really appreciate that. I want to emphasize how awesome the trackpad is on the MacBook. To be able to change little settings, to be able to customize the trackpad to work to how you want it to work, to customize how firm it is, to be able to change little things. We're entering a new era where it's all about the user interface, and Apple, they finally get that, and that's why they released TouchForce. You can go to the trackpad and you can literally change everything. So click here on trackpad and you can actually go to point and click. You can customize how firm your click is. So right now I'm clicking. Hear that click? Watch me change this to medium. Much louder and much more of a harder click too. And then firm. Even louder. So it's quite amazing that they've made a whole system around optimizing how you use your trackpad. You know, it seems like it's not that important because you've never had it before, you never used it, but these features they just blew me away. I was like, how does Windows not even have this? You can swipe between pages with 2 fingers. You can access applications and put them side by side together. There's a notifications tray, which I think is really cool. If you take a look right over here, it's literally a notifications tray. So kind of like on your phone, but optimized to work for a desktop. Really, really cool stuff. You can customize it and put little widgets here like calculators and stuff. Pretty amazing. There's app expose, so you can line up the apps. Launchpad, so you can access all your applications. And then there's a show desktop too. It's pretty cool. Take a look at how smooth the scrolling is. This is something you can't get from any other Windows-based laptops, Dell, HP, Lenovo. You're just not going to get smooth scrolling. For whatever reason, they think that people don't care about the web browsing experience, but it's something Apple actually does a really good job at. So as you can see, it's exceptionally smooth. You can pinch to zoom on text. I mean, it's kind of like having your browsing experience kind of like on a phone, but like a mobile desktop version, so it's so much better and smoother. Let's go ahead and show you some of the features here of this TouchForce. Watch what happens when I do a hard press on the word design. So it actually comes up with a dictionary as a source, and you can actually go to Wikipedia and things like that. I'm already in Wikipedia now, but it's quite amazing because they took the trackpad and they just extended it. They created a whole user experience around the trackpad, just something you're not going to get anywhere else. Take a quick look. See an address? Just go ahead and click on it, and it actually pops up a map of the address. So you can do this in web pages, you can do this in your notes application. Anywhere you see an address, you just click firmly and then click a little bit harder and it pops up the map. Really, really neat stuff. It just knows. I absolutely encourage all of you guys to go to the Apple Store and try out the trackpad. Use it for 15 minutes. If you know a friend who has the MacBook, any of them that have a decent trackpad, I want you to experience how smooth the scrolling is. It'll blow your mind how really good it is when those laptops still don't have this. So a common question people always ask me, how do you know whether it's worth to upgrade the device, to get the 256 SSD or to get the 16 gig RAM, or they just don't know which things to upgrade. I'm going to tell you right now, the majority of people are going to want just the base model, just the i5 processor, the 128 gigabyte RAM, and the standard 8 gig RAM. Most people are not going to need anything more than 8 gigabytes of RAM because most applications don't even utilize it. As for the difference between the i5 and the i7, there's the testing that we've seen, there's really not a whole lot of difference. If you want to do like professional things like video editing or compiling certain videos or programs, or just if you want that extra teeny little boost and you're willing to pay for it and you actually have the money, then I would go for it. But at the end of the day, real professionals probably wouldn't even use a laptop like this anyway. This is still a consumer, introductory consumer level based laptop. So only upgrade the things on the MacBook Pro if you really feel like it's worth it and if you really feel like you're gonna get a lot out of it. Most of the time, you're never going to need to upgrade the RAM past the 8 gig. You're not going to need to upgrade to the i7 processor because it doesn't give you that much more performance. And the only thing I would recommend upgrading is the SSD storage. So if you are the most basic person, you're just going to web browse, maybe you're going to run a couple programs, do some word processing, a few simple things here and there, maybe some photo editing. 128 gig is going to be good for most people. But if you think you need more space, here's the key. If you think you need more space, you probably do. Get the 256 if you think you need more space. Just get it out of the way. Because a lot of times, the people that ask the question, do I need more storage? If you are already asking the question, that means yes. So remember that. So even though this is a glossy display, it still actually fights the glare quite well. I was actually surprised that it has that nice premium look and feel, but it still has good viewing angles and the glare really isn't that bad. So in terms of overall sound, this MacBook doesn't actually get that loud. Unless you're running on full load, it'll get fairly loud, or unless you're playing a game. I noticed that the fan isn't also as loud and tinny sounding like on the MacBook Air. On the MacBook Airs, their fans are a lot smaller. You can see the grill on the very bottom there. When you're doing something that's very CPU intensive, you're gonna feel some heat right over here. And it's not that bad because the whole thing's aluminum, so it does dissipate the heat. And it's definitely not going to be getting hot like laptops from 2005 that are going to burn you, but it does get sometimes hot depending on what you do. But I wouldn't worry too much about it because it's well within normal range. It doesn't get in the way. Guys, if you haven't experienced SSDs before, this is going to blow your mind how fast it is. Imagine your computer booting up in like 15 to 20 seconds or less. It is just amazing how fast these are. In the past, when you try to access an application, it could take a minute, it could take 30 seconds. Sometimes applications take forever to open, like 2 minutes. Applications open up almost instantly on this new MacBook. It is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. As soon as I started using SSDs, I told all my friends about it. I wanted all of them to have one, and I finally got my brother to get one, and he just loves them now. He tells everybody about the SSDs. It's freaking amazing. So Apple kind of gave up on the whole idea of upgrading your laptop once it's already built. And there's some good things and some bad things about this. The bad thing is that, well, once you build it, you can't really change it, and that's pretty much it. You're kind of stuck with what you have. But the good thing is the components that they put inside here, they're built to last. So you're not gonna have to go through the hassle of replacing your battery or getting more RAM. Make sure you figure out how long you want this device to last and build it to those specifications. If you do feel like upgrading it, not that I recommend it, but if you do feel like upgrading it, you can pop in a new SSD, and that's just basically the hard drive, and you have to take these pentalobe screws off. But Apple really didn't want you to do that, and it was never really designed for that. So if you want upgradability, there's a different system you can get, but it's not this one. Yes, this particular laptop does have also more powerful 28-watt CPU, as you can see right over here. But for me, it really mattered that they improved the graphics capability. And with the Intel Iris 6100, it's better by about 20% than the previous last year's model, which is a moderately good increase. On some games it matters more, on some games it matters less. But what I found is on more games, it tends to matter more. So on certain games where you'd maybe be getting 30 frames per second, and that's just the refresh rate of the screen, you would be getting 60 frames or 50. So a jump from 30 to 60, that's a huge jump. Notice that this processor is actually a lot faster than the MacBook Air processors. I had a MacBook Air i7 variant, which was not faster than the Core i5 in the MacBook Pro. So keep that in mind. If you want power, you should get the Pro. Let's talk about the major differences between the new version here. So we see a spec bump to 2.7 gigahertz from 2.6. Not the craziest jump, but it's mostly designed for energy efficiency. We see a pretty big jump with the RAM, about 15% or so. So CPU and RAM are a little bit faster. It's not the biggest jump we've seen, but it is a modest jump. And this laptop was mostly designed for energy efficiency, which is how they get the 10 hours. I would say it's about 5 to 10% faster. The RAM is 15% faster. Something that's really impressive is the SSD speeds. So when the SSDs came out, they revolutionized how quickly our computers responded. It utilized all the hardware and made PCs really fast. What we're seeing on the old SSD is that it's about 450 write and 700 read, which is pretty good for last year's model, considering a lot of other computers still don't run at this speed. Well, guess what? This year, for 2015, we see a doubling of this speed, which is very, very impressive, at about 700 write and 1300 read. That's pretty impressive. That's a 200% increase. Another awesome thing that we've seen, which is still a modest increase, is the battery. So they changed the battery from a 71.8 watt battery to a 74.9. And I believe they did this because the new GPU that they put in takes up a little bit of extra power. That, and considering the fact that they wanted to add an extra hour to go from 9 to 10 hours battery life, that was pretty much the reasoning there. So not the greatest battery jump. Some people say they get about an hour, some people say they get about 30 minutes, while others have said they haven't even noticed. Again, this is how Apple basically tests their computers. It's probably just an extra hour of Wi-Fi browsing, which isn't anything special. Something that I'm extremely excited about is the new graphics. So in the old chip, we had the Iris 5100, which was actually pretty impressive. A lot of reviewers and a lot of tech enthusiasts, they really did not give credit to the integrated graphics. But this year, we're seeing the new Iris 6100. It has an extra 8 EUs. It gives us about a 20% increase in performance. And I've tested over 20 games, which you guys can take a look right over here. I'm going to post some links here. And I'll also show you the performance itself. If there are any games you guys want me to test on this new MacBook Pro or any other computer, just leave a comment down below and I'll get it tested for you guys. And plus new hardware and software, which is pretty impressive. Another thing they added was the 2 resolutions at 4K displays. So that's a cool feature. I don't know how many people are really going to use that yet. 4K is beginning to kick off here and beginning to get a little more popular, but still we haven't seen an adoption of 4K that fast yet. It's only been a few years out in the market now. So Guys, the gaming abilities of this laptop have exceeded all of my expectations. I'm really excited to let you guys know that the HD 6000 in the MacBook Air and the Iris 6100 in this MacBook Pro can play all your favorite titles. And I can prove it. I've done gaming tests on over 20 games and I'm testing more games. So let me know which games you guys want me to test. Take a look at these results, guys. This is amazing. This game has amazing art and high graphics. So even on the top of So we explored a little. There's some impressive cutscenes, man. This is quite a lot to take in. If you guys have any questions at all, I'm standing by. I'm one of the few YouTubers that actually stands by on YouTube to answer all questions. A couple pretty big differences. The new HD graphics and the new Touch Force technology. Two items that I really like. Now, I think if you're a gamer, jumping from the Iris 5100 to the Iris 6100, definitely worth it. Or if you're jumping from any other older MacBook type, the Iris 6100, it does really well. Like, I was surprised. It played pretty much any game that I could throw at it. The only titles that it had problems with were just some of the games that were in beta or games that were not officially out yet. But other than that, it ran really well. The new TrackPad, I gotta tell you, I love it. It takes a little while to get used to at first, but being able to click anywhere you want, being able to customize the feel of the trackpad was definitely an awesome addition. I think if you have the 2014 version of the MacBook Pro, there might not be necessarily enough reason to upgrade unless you wanted the gaming capabilities or unless you wanted the premium features of the trackpad, because for a lot of Apple users and a lot of MacBook users, they love their trackpads. That's one thing that a lot of Windows and PC users, they're going to see that and they're going to be really confused. They'll be like, why would anybody buy a laptop because of the trackpad? But you'd be surprised that there's quite a lot of reasons why you would, because without a mouse, that's the only thing you get to use, and it makes sense to have a good trackpad at that point. If you want to see more gaming tests, don't hesitate to look through the channel. I have over 20 plus videos for the MacBook Pro. I did the MacBook Air. I also did the 12-inch MacBook. Me and a few other channels are pretty much the only guys that are doing this right now. So if you want to see it, check out my other videos if you guys like this video. And I'm trying to get more subscribers. I'm still fairly new on YouTube. I used to do fitness videos in the past, but I'm trying to get into tech videos. So like the video, guys, if you liked it. Really do appreciate you guys watching. Thanks, guys. Cheers. Guys, if you want to see a review of the MacBook Air 11-inch or the 12-inch MacBook, go ahead and click on these links over here.